pasuk says, Umaisha b'nei the Esrim Shana b'maisei. And Moshe Rabbeinu was 120 years old when he left this world. However, do you want to know what the tragedy was? Do you want to understand the loss? Then you have to realize that Leichahasa Einai, his eyes were not dim, neither of his natural forces abated. His skin had the same moisture that he had in his youth. Like Moshe Rabbeinu showed absolutely no outside sign of aging. The Torah wants to emphasize what this meant that Moshe Rabbeinu was taken from Klal Yisrael. It's not that you just lost oil that could be replaced. You lost the kind of oil that if you would have had it, if it wasn't taken from you, it never gets consumed, it never gets used up. Rashi says in the pasuk, L'chahasa Einai, but Rashi, even after Moshe Rabbeinu passed away, his body did not decay. It remained youthful and fresh as it was till the last day of his life. There have been countless instances throughout the generations of where, for one reason or another, the cave of a tzaddik had to be opened. And people have seen this, that the tzaddik's body was completely whole, even after many years. When the Stephaneshter Rebbe was moved to Eretz Yisrael, his body was completely whole. In Eretz Yisrael there is no Aron. And the Chazonish ordered, Af Kiddush Hashem, they should make a levaya through Yerushalayim. Let everyone see this B'chosh. The Kro was moved, the Vilna Gaon was moved in the 1950s, his body was completely whole. There was a Yid in Skver who used to always tell over the story. During the war he was forced from one ghetto to the other, and he wound up in Lezhensk. And the Nazis noticed that Yidden were running over to the oil of the Rebbe Melech, and they were mispal over there. A place of hope for Jews. Anything that represents that they have a future, that gives them chizuk. The Nazis, that was equivalent to the enemy's most powerful military base. That was priority number one. That had to be destroyed. Throughout the years, the scene of the Rebbe Melech was a place where Yidden came to be mispalel. To this very day it is. The Rebbe Melech promised anyone who davens by his tzion will not leave this world without tshuva. Now, the Nazis are not going to leave this, they thought. Now they picked up their rifles and ordered that anyone who doesn't engage in destroying this scene, who doesn't dig up the body, is going to be shot on the spot. Their eyes, the Yidden picked up the shovels in their trembling hands, and they dug open the cave of the Rebbe Melech. It was no secret that the Rebbe Melech had passed away about 150 years prior to that, when they opened up the cave to the eyes of all those who opened it, as well as the Rishonim who were standing around, as well as the Nazis. It was clear as clear can be. His body was fresh and whole. The Nazis were so frightened, they quickly ordered the Jews, cover it quickly. And everybody, including the Nazi guards, ran off in all different directions in fright. Rebbe Melech was never touched. It stands there to this very day. This Yid who told over the story, he was one of the people that dug open the cave. He went on to survive the war, and he was nifter on Chav Aleph Adar, which is the yard site of the Rebbe Melech. There is something here really which ought to be clarified. We know that the minig is when a person is buried, the bottom of the Orain is removed. The person ought to be buried into the ground. The quicker the guf decays, the greater the tikkun for the neshama. Preferably, if possible, we try to bury a person even before sundown. In Eretz Yisrael, no Aron is used at all for this reason. So if there is such an inyan, that the person li'achamei li'asma shana shabadaf to be buried into the ground, and the quicker the guf decays, then the faster the neshama comes to its tikkun and to its ultimate menucha and resting place, and enjoys the light of Olam Haba. So why is this a maila that Leichahasa Einai Zagrashi Af Mishanes? Why is this a maila that so many tzadikim were found whole even after hundreds of years? The Gemara tells us about Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon that he even tested himself during his life. He had a piece of flesh cut out, and he showed that it didn't decay in the sun. And indeed, after he passed away, he remained in his attic for many, many years, as the Gemara Masechus Bava Metzia explains, and absolutely nothing decayed. Once a worm came out of his ear, And his wife began to worry, what is going to be now? And he came to her in a dream and said, no, it's nothing. It's going to stop at that. It's only because I once heard the bezayin of a Talmud Chacham and I was not Meicha. So why is this a Maila that the bodies of Tzadikim remain whole? Isn't that an equal? Doesn't that prevent them from attaining their highest place in Olam Haba? The Biyah Inyan, as the Sfarim explains, is as follows. The reason that the neshama doesn't attain perfect happiness until the body is decayed is because if there is a mashu of chait on the guf, so kol man the guf is still in existence, the neshama has to deal with that. The neshama has to be cleansed of that. That doesn't mean the neshama is in Gehenna, but there is some equal, there is some prevention over there of the neshama reaching its loftiest place in Gan Eden. The full joy of the chuppah, the canopy that is prepared for tzadikim, that is prepared for every person after his tikkun. However, a tzaddik whose guf has no mashuv of chait, a tzaddik who lived a life and broke his guf, in other words, he broke every temptation, every natural craving of his guf, so the tumah that goes along with the guf is simply not there. The fact that the neshama is still associated with the guf in no way prevents the neshama from feeling the ultimate simcha, pure joy, which of course does not exist on this world. There is no pure joy in this world without any strings attached or some reservations. Even Liachah Nevi Neshama takes time till the neshama is zeicha to that. However, the tzaddik can be zeicha to it right away because the existence of his guf is not a problem. It doesn't represent chait, it doesn't represent taiva. He destroyed that when his guf was alive. When Moshe Rabbeinu passed away, the pasuk says, "Yifku b'nei Yisrael es Moshe b'Yavris Moav Shloshim Yom." Rashi points out that by Aaron HaKohen, there is a stronger lashon. Over there it says, "Yifku Koil Beis Yisrael." Why? So Rashi, because Aaron HaKohen was Roider Shalom and Nice and Shalom, Ben Ish L'Yehu, he always made peace between one person and another. And between wife and husband, therefore everyone cried. The women